Well, folks, now you know what you're in for.
Yeah. It's a shame we couldn't say that live.
I think you just did. So here we go. Am I recording? Yes, I am.
It only takes a little to help a lot. To show your support for Daily Tech News Show, go to patreon.com/acedetect and pledge just $1 per month. That's patreon.com/ACEDTECT.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, June 27th, 2014. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Mr. Darren Kitchen of Hack 5 is alongside. How's it going, Darren?
Tom, it is fantastic to be here. I'm very excited, and I am not feigning excitement, nor am I drinking a beer because it's Liquid Friday.
Yes, he is, but only one of those two. We'll let you figure it out. The other person with us today is Len Peralta, who is going to illustrate the episode as we often have him do on Fridays. Thank you for doing that, Len.
Oh, no problem. This is a lot of fun. I feel like we've done 300 shows already since just in the last 15 minutes. It feels like 300 different shows.
We did several episodes of several pilots of shows in the pre-show. You're right.
Right. In fact, Tom, you must feel like you've almost done like 2,266 shows. I mean,
it's almost
but
as
no
if...
one's counting.
Right, but no one's accurately counting. Let's start off with some headlines. The Verge reports on the U.S. NSA's first full transparency report posted on the agency's official Tumblr account. The report details 38,812 targets of national security letters, 1,767 FISA court orders, and 423 targets of FISA business record requests. Now keep in mind, a target in this case, according to the NSA, quote, could be an individual person, a group, or an organization composed of multiple individuals, or a foreign power that possesses or is likely to communicate foreign intelligence information. So, for instance, when, say, an agency targeted Angela Merkel's government in Germany, that would be one target, the entire government of Germany, just as an example.
What is that? How does that translate to sprites within the original Mario Brothers? That's what I want to know.
Well, okay, I only know sprites from TI Basic. But I assume that the one command of the whole path counts as one.
Yes, I see. So basically what we're saying is that in an effort to regain the trust of the American citizens, the NSA, who inherently doesn't trust you, has put us all to sleep with this wonderfully dull infographic.
If I may paraphrase from the Lego movie, I believe what the NSA is trying to say is numbers, 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 transparency, transparency, transparency. Is it working?
Is it working? Yeah, I feel like if the NSA really wants to embrace transparency, maybe they should hire a PR firm. And on that, I wonder if Glenn Greenwald is available.
I don't know if he'd take the job, but it'd be an interesting offer. I would like to be a fly on the wall of that interview.
In Bizarro World.
Yeah. TechCrunch reports on Apple's decision to cease development of its photo editing software Aperture in favor of the new Photos app that's coming in OS X Yosemite. That also replaces iPhoto, by the way. Apple will provide compatibility updates for Aperture, so it'll still work on Yosemite. They just won't be developing it anymore. And they intend to help users with migration, not just to Photos, but also to Adobe's Lightroom app. Adobe and Apple playing nice here.
That's awesome. Tom, have I ever mentioned to you how much I love Apple Incorporated? Those guys are swell.
You haven't mentioned that before, Darren.
I hope that their business flourishes for generations to come.
Interesting. Nope, that's great. I mean, that's a very positive sentiment to put out there in the universe. I appreciate that. That's good. The Next Web heard the New York Times report that the original Facebook Home team had been disbanded, presumably meaning the end of the line for the home screen replacement app. However, Facebook told the Next Web there is still a team working on Facebook Home. It's just not the same team. Facebook tends to rotate developers between projects regularly. Facebook Home is also still available in the Google Play Store. Reuters reports HP has agreed to settle litigation over its acquisition of the Autonomy Corporation. If you don't remember the deal with this, HP had to take an $8.8 billion impairment charge in November 2012, in part due to, quote, serious accounting improprieties, misrepresentation, and disclosure failures from Autonomy. The shareholders have been suing both HP and Autonomy. Now they say, okay, we're okay with you, HP. Go after Autonomy. Shareholders have agreed to drop all claims against HP execs, but will still pursue action against former top officials of Autonomy, and HP will help them. So I think I don't know if you'd call it a witch hunt or a mob, like a Frankenstein, but autonomy is definitely the monster in this. Reuters reports China's Tencent will buy a 20% stake in online classifieds company 58.com. Tencent owns messaging app WeChat, among many other things, and has been expanding into e-commerce, real estate, and digital mapping. 58.com is often compared to Craigslist, and the deal will help 58.com boost some traffic by teaming up with Tencent's QQ and Weixin. All right. Do you remember that FAA guidance released earlier this week that singled out Amazon by forbidding free shipping? Well, Hackaday points out that same document essentially bans any first-person view model aircraft from operation when out of the line of sight of the operator. Think camera plus drone plus Oculus Rift. The interpretation ignores safety rules set forth by the Academy of Model Aeronautics regarding first-person view flight. So this has been thought through already. The FAA is just ignoring that. Don't forget the FAA lost a court case last autumn when a judge ruled that the agency could not rely on mere policy statements from 2007 to enforce new rules. These new guidelines are an attempt to stretch authority given to the FAA in the FAA Modernization and Reform Act of 2012, which, among other things, requires the FAA to actually create rules instead of issuing more guidelines and policy statements. But they're ignoring that part of that act. They are seeking public comment, though. You can check that out at regulations.gov.
I wish that I could say anything rational. I'm still in the emotional upset phase because this is my hobby, the first-person view flying, because you're able to transpose yourself into your avatar and actually be a bird for a moment, and it actually tricks your brain completely in some instances where your body will start moving when the aircraft is banking because you don't know any otherwise, and it's truly a remarkable experience, and I'm so disheartened to see this. The FAA should have known better if they looked into what FPV is at all and actually realized that it's in most cases safer than flying only line of sight. But yes, otherwise I don't mind playing by the rules. You just have to go through the official rule process, not some lame policy where we actually get a voice. And also I feel like this could also bring on innovation. Maybe some sort of goggles where you both get an overlay of the screen and a camera within the goggles giving you a perspective of the line of sight. Man, just make the rules defined.
The FAA really seems to be bobbling this, right? They're trying to put something out there desperately and doing it in all the wrong ways, it seems like. These are ignoring, like, okay, yes, non-line of sight flight requires a new approach, but the AMA has taken that approach. They've thought this through. It's ready-made, but the FAA is like, no, we haven't really had time to look at those, so we're just gonna ban it. Well,
no, dude, the AMA
I know
has
they
existed.
have had time.
In fact, model aircraft have existed for longer than the FAA has existed, and the AMA, in fact, came up with these awesome guidelines that if you adhere to, you can be totally safe and enjoy this hobby and actually get people, young and old, outdoors and actually doing innovation and learning things about maths and sciences that this country needs, regardless. And it's almost like the FAA stuff is going back to 1980, either 1981 or 1983, the FAA in fact acknowledged the AMA's guidelines as the only in fact official acknowledgement whatsoever is in an FAA memorandum from 1981 saying, oh, you know what, these are actually safe and sound guidelines. We don't regulate you guys, but if you are going to do this model aircraft stuff, these are really good rules to follow. So this is totally a turnabout from that, and it's...
that's what the Reform Act says. It says you can't regulate model aircraft unless they fall under these conditions, and one of the conditions is out of line of sight. But what the AMA and what you're saying is, yeah, line of sight, unless you actually can see from the point of view of the aircraft, that changes the whole ballgame.
And what they're actually going at has nothing to do with the line of sight stuff. What they're really concerned about is the where you're flying stuff. And so if they could just define all of the parameters properly and give us the rules to fly in, I will totally do that. But you just have to set forth rules. You can't say like, oh, and don't be unsafe, and then don't say what that is.
That's what I mean about bobbling. They're like, we're gonna stretch something out of this act to put some rules out, but they're not really rules because we're still taking feedback from people. And I know we got this 2015 deadline, and we're gonna try to meet it, but they're.
Have you ever negotiated a contract? This is totally how it works. It's the same way Congress works. We're going to raise taxes and kill puppies. Wait, kill puppies?
But is the
No,
FAA
can't do that.
negotiating, or are they?
Yeah, they're
like,
negotiating with the public and Congress.
yeah, they that's not what they should be doing, and they don't do that regarding large aircraft. They just put their foot down. They didn't negotiate cell phone bans on airplanes. They just put their foot down.
And before this, what I was expecting to come down the line was in November to see the proposed regulations for unmanned aerial aircraft, including statute for UAVs under 55 pounds. And most of the time, I mean, when I'm talking to FPV, there's a camera. If you're watching the video version, there's a camera in the little nose of this less than a pound foam aircraft that couldn't hurt someone if it tried. So, just saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and be more reasonable. But yes,
bobbling. They're just like bobbling. Yeah. I'm going to call them FA until they figure this out. Time for some news from you. These are submitted at our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. 2,700 people in there figuring out what stories they would like to hear us talk about, voting on the stories submitted by others. Metal Freak submitted the top story on subreddit today. Reed writes, Dan Rowinski spoke with Dave Burke, the head of Android engineering and the Nexus program at Google, about the fate of Nexus. A lot of folks have worried that this would get retired. Rumors have circulated that a program called Android Silver would replace the Nexus program. Burke wouldn't say much about Silver, although he did seem to acknowledge its existence in what he did say. Here's what he said. People have been commenting about Nexus because there is something else, and they think that means the end of Nexus. That is the totally wrong conclusion to make. He went on to say he doesn't think it ever can or will go away, referring to Nexus, because it is so closely tied to the development of the Android operating system. So there you go, Nexus fans. SP Sheridan posted the Wired UK article that YouTube announced at VidCon today. It will support video shot in 48 and 60 frames per second. This in particular will keep YouTube footage consistent with gameplay capture from the PS4 and Xbox One. YouTube also confirmed fan funding will be coming to operators of channels. That's the ability for fans to contribute money to a YouTube channel at any time for any reason.
It's almost like YouTube is admitting that advertising isn't necessarily the model or the end-all be-all for indie video monetization. It's I don't know where they get these ideas. They must have had some sort of inspiration.
I think that I'm not going to criticize YouTube for adding another way for creators to make money, whether they're behind the curve or not. We could have a conversation about, but it's not a bad thing for them to open this up.
Full disclosure: doesn't your wife work at YouTube?
Full disclosure, my wife works at YouTube and is at VidCon right now working for YouTube.
Awesome.
So maybe that makes me nicer to them. But I tend to be the same thing at other, like when people add something late, like Apple gets this criticism all the time. I'm not going to criticize them for adding it. Like, okay, so they are late, and YouTube is definitely late. But good. I'm glad they're adding it. Diggs a Lot passed along the Verge article about how Chromecast is able to pair with nearby devices that aren't on the same network because it jumps the air gap, Darren. Chromecast plays ultrasonic tones through the TV speakers. Once a device detects those tones, it can then be paired with the Chromecast over the internet. Users will also have the option of entering a PIN to establish a link with Chromecast if they don't want to use that system. And when the feature rolls out, it will have to be explicitly turned on by the owner. It won't turn itself on by default.
I absolutely love this stuff. We've done numerous demonstrations on Hack5 about this. Air gaps are really fun. Ultrasonic networking is fun. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing more innovation in the space of free space optics. Are you familiar with, say, the Nintendo light gun with Duck Hunt?
Right. Yeah.
What's really beautiful about that is that stuff doesn't need to be regulated in the way that the FCC regulates it because it's just light, and so that same technology can actually be applied to networking by just modulating the waves of what I guess you could imagine are unperceivable to the human eye. So basically, think about an LED light bulb that provides your machine with Wi-Fi.
I love this ability to jump the air gap, to take advantage of ultrasonic sound, to say, like, there are devices nearby, let's take advantage of the fact that they can hear certain tones. There's all kinds of things. I don't want to bring up the Yo app,
so it's
kind of that simplicity of, like, I will just send you a tone, and if you hear the tone, then you can say, yes, I'm here, and that's all we need. We don't need to exchange a lot of thick information.
Yeah, And it leads a whole new wave of ultrasonic audio exploit development, and I just love that it's not just the NSA that's accessing your microphone anymore.
That's right. Finally,
Thank
Google
you,
is as
Chromecast.
well. And I will give Google credit here for not
Oh, me
turning
too.
this on by default. You may or may not want to turn it on yourself, depending on who's going to be coming to your house and who can get within audio range of your speakers. But at the same time, it's the right way to implement it.
I'm going to learn to speak ultrasonic.
Yeah.
That's my goal now. You know,
You're going to be like the
I'm
Captain
giving up.
Crunch of ultrasonic.
Yeah, you know, I gave up a while ago on my whole dreams of being able to speak in 300 baud. It never worked out. But ultrasonic is the frontier.
You almost negotiated a connection with somebody just then.
I almost.
Metal Freak and Manage Mike both submitted versions of this following story. I got the PC World version of it, reporting last year Facebook turned over virtually all records and communications for 381 accounts to the New York County District Attorney's Office in response to a court order, but they've been fighting against it. Facebook is asking the court to order the data returned or destroyed, as well as to rule whether the bulk warrant violated the Fourth Amendment rights of the account holders in the first place. Of the 381 people whose accounts were seized, 62 were later charged in a disability fraud case. And that is a look at the headlines. Hey, Darren, do you read?
I do.
Do you
Here
read,
and there.
do you read good things? Do you like good things or bad things?
I like mostly reading good things and make-believe things.
I have something for you. It's the Sword and Laser Anthology. It collects 20 good stories, amazing stories, really. 10 about science fiction, 10 about fantasy from new writers in the Sword and Laser audience. Even Patrick Rothfuss likes it. So you don't like full disclosure. I run Sword and Laser, so you don't have to take my word for it because I want you to buy the book because then I make money off of it. But Patrick Rothfuss likes it too, so you might like it as well.
Well, I like lasers, and I also like swords. So I like that there's a little bit of something in there for everyone.
It all.
I like reading bad
Swordandlaser.com/store.
things.
What's that, Len?
I like reading bad things.
This will not be the book for you then.
Well, you can't please everybody, but
No. But if you ever change to liking to read good things, you might want to check it out.
do you recommend that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I find it. It's a personal choice, but I like it. Swordandlaser.com/store for the links. All right, we got a couple of things we want to talk about before we get out of here. Fox has already acted on the Aereo decision in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in Pasadena, California. Oral arguments begin July 7th in Fox versus Dish. Fox has submitted the Aereo versus ABC decision in support of their case. What they're after is the Dish Anywhere and the Hopper DVR side-loading services. Dish Anywhere is Slingbox. Dish Anywhere lets you watch your live or recorded TV on mobile devices, laptops, and desktops. Hopper's side-loading lets you move your recorded show from the DVR to your iPad. Aereo was deemed to be a public performance. The court ruled, at least the 6 justices that ruled in the majority, ruled that the equipment Aereo was using was irrelevant. Fox has seized on that and said in a letter to the court by lawyer Richard Stone, Dish, which engages in virtually identical conduct when it streams Fox's programming to Dish subscribers over the internet, albeit also in violation of an express contractual prohibition, has repeatedly raised the same defenses as Aereo, which have now been rejected in the Supreme Court. What's at issue here is not really whether the Supreme Court would have also found this illegal, it's the break on innovation and the chilling effect this now has on innovation. The fact that Fox can bring this argument is what's important. Whether they win or lose is almost irrelevant, Darren.
Tom, maybe it's the day I'm having, but I'm kind of feeling like perhaps innovation actually doesn't stand a chance in the face of the establishment. And talk me through this, because I haven't had the I'm not a vampire like you are and have lived for hundreds of years. But has technology litigation always been this way? Did cable companies face opposition from an established broadcast industry?
I am not a vampire. I'm an alien. But yes, they always have. The problem is usually the court has sided with innovation. With cable companies, they allowed cable companies to exist, and Congress was the one that said, "All right, we're gonna change the law for cable companies about what they can rebroadcast. We're going to say that they can't have one antenna and rebroadcast to many." That's in the 1976 Act. That is not from a court case. With VCRs, the court said, no, you get to make a recording for your own personal use. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And of course, VHS and cable ended up being a huge boon to the entertainment industry. But what's happened here is the opposite. They've said, nope, you can't do that. And now the broadcast industry is starting to use that to say, well, if you can't do that, then you can't do this either. And if they are able to prevail on this, especially with the Slingbox aspect of the dish hopper, then the next thing they can come after is Slingbox itself.
At what point do the consumers just say, you know what, I'm fed up with this. Maybe I don't actually need this in my life.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, over-the-air broadcasting is doomed under this situation. That is essentially what has happened here. Internet broadcasting is going to have to pull itself up. You're going to have to wait for Netflix and Amazon and Microsoft and Sony to all get their own content generation machines underway before the pressures can be applied to actually change things.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what this ruling might have as far as it affects, say, individuals? Is there still a model for an Airbnb type antenna rental service? If, say, I want to pop something on the roof of the hack shop, and
that's the problem, right?
In LA,
what the Supreme Court said was, if it looks like a cable company because it can be perceived by multiple people, it's a public performance. So all they have to do in court is prove that your Airbnb was like, well, multiple people were using it. That's a public performance. It doesn't matter what the actual machinery he was using was. And so it's really changed the game. And that's why Slingbox is in danger now, is because they said, well, it doesn't matter what the machinery is.
Well, the last time they were in danger, what did they do? They innovated and came out with an awesome, array of PCBs and antennas. So if anything, I feel like, and this has been the overarching conversation we've just been having, is there's policy and then there's innovation. And really, if they weren't at odds, then maybe we'd actually still be in the Stone Age. Whoa, did I just... No, I didn't say that. Didn't say it. Totally not a symbiotic relationship that creates better technology for all mankind.
It can be, and over time it really is. In this particular case, I think it's a setback, but I still agree with you overall. You know, the tension between the two really does drive things forward. You need to have the roadblocks to get around the roadblocks.
Well, then maybe Aereo should start a Kickstarter and be like, yo, dog, donate to us so that we can come up with a new distributed system or some such thing that doesn't fall under the same regulations. Again, just define it. Like, and what are the rules so we can circumvent them?
And what I'm hoping for with the Ninth Circuit Court is that they rule that, okay, what the Supreme Court said was a cable system is a cable system. This is not a cable system. This is a user rebroadcasting. And this is not a crowd accessing a service like Aereo. They could say that. And then that would actually set the limits of that Supreme Court decision back a little ways. But who knows what they could also rule that, like, nope, you didn't negotiate the individual rights to rebroadcast over the internet, and therefore you're acting in a way that's like a cable company without a license. So there, we'll see. I also want to mention Brian Knappenberger's new documentary that is released today, The Internet's Own Boy. You can find it in select theaters, on Google Play, iTunes, Vimeo, all available today at the same time because it's the internet. And this documentarian recognizes that, as he should. It's made up of home movies, news footage, archival interviews with Schwartz, and interviews with his family, friends, and coworkers. It sort of grew naturally out of a panel he was on with Quinn Norton, among others, a few weeks after Schwartz had killed himself. And people were discussing this and talking about it, and he just started documenting it, and it turned into this video. Don't forget, Aaron was facing up to 35 years in jail and a fine of $1 million for downloading massive quantities of academic papers, allegedly from the MIT network. He would not plea bargain because he did not want to admit guilt. He wanted to set a precedent, and government officials did not speak on the documentary. But if you're interested at all in Aaron Schwartz, and I know, Darren, he is one of your heroes, this documentary looks amazing. I've only seen the trailer, but it looks amazing.
I mean, he's one of the early partners of Reddit, and he's worked on the Creative Commons license, and he truly is a hacker hero. He deserves to be right up there. And I've seen, in fact, I've seen what's his name? This artist, Knappenberger's work. I got to see his anonymous documentary at South by Southwest, and he paints everything in the right light. And this is a story of innovators versus the establishment that ends tragically, and hopefully only good can come of this in the way of changing the current laws when it comes to the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act and other such things.
Absolutely. Check it out. Vimeo, iTunes, Google Play, maybe in a theater near you. It'd be fun to go see it in a theater as well. Calendar, tomorrow is Tau Day, June 28th, because pi isn't wrong, Jenny wrote. Pi is not wrong. Pi is inferior to tau, if you believe in tau. You don't need tau. But then there's the pi supporters who are like, pi is delicious. Why would you ever go after pi or the number pi? Anyway, whatever side of the argument you're on, mathematically speaking, June 28th, 6.28, double pi. It's Tau Day tomorrow. Also on Monday, June 30th, make sure you've got your Yahoo ID ready to go because Yahoo no longer accepts Google or Facebook logins for Flickr as we roll back compatibility on the internet. Also Monday, the start of the Spark conference in San Francisco for members of the Apache Spark community. Our pick of the day, my pick of the day is going to be my podcasting apps for weird reasons. I don't really know why because I think they're available on both platforms. I use Downcast on iOS and I use Pocket Casts on Android. It's just sort of how I set them up. I don't know if one wasn't available on the other at the time or whatever, but they're both fantastic. They both give you control over your subscriptions. It makes it easy to subscribe. In fact, if you copy a link from an RSS feed and then open the app, you'll see it in both of them. It'll just be there. It's really nicely done. So check them out, Downcast and Pocket Casts, and maybe try both of them. See which one you like best. You can find those links and all the links at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. A couple messages of the day before we go. Yesterday, Avram and Brian and I were talking about privacy on the internet, and Avram pointed out all his old articles from a decade ago are available on the archive.org Wayback Machine, which could be embarrassing. I could see why he was possibly worried about that. But Mark Givens, a.k.a. Pelicanesis, writes in regarding the difference between being embarrassed by something you posted on the internet a long time ago and having your current privacy invaded. Mark says, these two things are related but are not equal. Posting something on the internet and being embarrassed by it later is different than having private information made available on the internet. What I tell my doctor may be embarrassing, but that information is private. If I post it on the internet, that's my mistake, and I have to live with it. If I do something in public and that gets posted, well, that's the public space, and I should watch myself. If my doctor's files are hacked and posted on the internet, that is an invasion of privacy and should be removed. Whether that is possible is still another matter, but that doesn't lessen the importance of privacy in our lives. We do need to learn about behaving in public, on and offline, but that's not the same thing as privacy. What do you think of that distinction, Darren?
No, I definitely recognize that distinction, and I think what he's talking about is a social matter where we all have to take kind of responsibility for our actions as individuals in upholding a greater society. And while internet anonymity is awesome in a lot of contexts, it's not necessarily the end-all be-all. And so privacy-wise, sure, while we could all have a completely new identity with every relationship and every interaction in our entire lives conceivably, would that not just create a generation of a-holes? Yeah,
I think the point that Mark is making is one I agree with, which is we are learning. And we are learning what things really do need to be protected and what things don't. And a lot of things that we thought used to need to be protected don't need. And I think that was the point Avram was making is, hey, you know what? We used to think, oh, well, old things that I've done should be hidden now. And that probably isn't necessary or true as we get more literate with the new public space that we have.
That's interesting. So are you positing that perhaps we are, in fact, all toddlers on the internet?
Actually, yeah, absolutely. We might be getting out of the toddling stage into like the tween stage. I'm not sure how we go, but somebody, I think it was Nicole Spagnuolo, was like, YouTube comments are where humanity goes to die, and she's not alone in expressing that sentiment. But I'm like, interesting, because that used to be Dig, and before that it was Slashdot, and before that it was Usenet.
Let's not forget the September that never ended.
Yeah. So there's lots of examples of that over time, and the thing is, you could say, see, Tom, no matter what happens, we still end up migrating to a trollish behavior. But I actually think we're learning how to deal with that as we go on. We haven't learned how to deal with it yet. But all of this experience with dealing with that, I think eventually what's going to happen is only young people are going to really be super trolly on the internet, and it'll become a new skill people learned. But all of us need to learn it now because, like you said, well put, we're all toddlers on the internet.
And in fact, we're transcending this gap between these two generations of always online and the previous offline generation. And so it makes me wonder if a person from 2014 would even be able to interact with somebody from 2114.
Let's run that backwards the other way. Could we interact with someone from 1814?
No.
Or 1914? Yeah, we probably could.
1914, they would understand Twitter, maybe.
1814 would take a lot of explaining, and probably 2114 the same. Like, we could do it, but it would take a lot of prep work.
When does United Moon Colonies take place?
Doesn't have a date.
Oh, well then, nice way out of that one.
There are certain things that I learned to just avoid saying, and then you don't get called on them.
Dodged it.
Our final message comes from Daniel in cloudy Seattle, who has thoughts on Project Tango. Hi, Tom and crew. On yesterday's show, you mentioned that you didn't know what this would be good for regarding Project Tango. I did say that. I'm like, I don't know what it's good for, but I think it's going to be good for something. He's got an idea. He said, I want to let you know why I'm excited about Project Tango. Nostalgia is my enemy in that I have physical items cluttering up my apartment. I've been looking for a way to image my favorite items as virtual 3D models at a cost-effective rate. Although the technology promised in Project Tango isn't exactly what I'm looking for, it is a great stride in the right direction. I just hope that it sees enough enthusiasm in the marketplace to warrant the projection of the project. So he's going to solve his hoarding tendencies by 3D scanning his stuff.
Oh, no. I totally believe in this. In fact, you know that thing that you saw that made you laugh and chuckle and you were like, oh, that's really amusing. I like that. Now I need to have it in my life because it made me amused. Well, the thing is that amusement, it only lasts for like just this long, right? And so don't keep it physically, just like you wouldn't keep a shelf of books. You'd have to, have a brick background and lame yellow lighting to have something like that. You scan it in. So you see that cool thing in the mall and you take a photo of it and you're like, hey, maybe you try it on and take a selfie of it. Not that I do that. I'm just saying I know that's the thing, and you can now enjoy that object without purchasing it and having it in your life.
That's also a great way to combat showrooming.
What is that?
Showrooming is when people like go into a store, look at an object, and then buy it online. You can say, look, we'll let you scan it. Just, pay an entrance fee to come in, and you can scan anything in the place.
Or you 3D print it, you enjoy it for a while until now it's like, this is just clutter.
Then you scan it.
You toss it into the hopper that remelts the plastic back into little beads that goes back into the coil that goes back into your printer to make even more stuff you don't need. It's fantastic.
And everything lives scanned forever on your hard drive. You're
everything
a digital
that is what it does. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Also, I'm mad at Tango because now I have to rename another product.
All right. Well, that is it for this episode of Daily Tech News Show. Thank you, Mr. Darren Kitchen, hak5.org. Go there, enjoy the content, shop the Hack Shop, support the show. It's an amazing show. What do you guys got coming up?
Thank you. Shannon and I are so delighted to bring you guys the finalization in the first phase of our drone build out. So if you've been following along, we finally put it to flight, and it's really going to be amazing. And Shannon shows up some encryption techniques that aren't real. It's called faux crypt. Tune in.
Faux crypt. I like that. That's cool. Len Peralta has been busily illustrating the show, and this looks like a page from a kid's book, Len.
Well, that's a little bit what I was trying to do. This show, interestingly, was pretty heavy. A lot of interesting talk. So I decided to go a little bit more innocent and fun. You had a story about Fox and Dish fighting basically over streaming, and that's what this is: a fox and a dish fighting over a stream.
Where's the spoon?
Spoon's off camera, cheering.
Yes.
Yes. This is between the fox and the dish. The spoon's
Stay back, Spoon. This is between me and the fox.
So it's
I'll run away with you later.
Interesting way of looking at a text story. So I decided to do that.
That's funny that you went with that way, Darren, because when he told me this concept, I went immediately to Fox and the Hound, right?
Yeah.
Except Fox and the Dish. Yeah. The Hound and the Spoon are the seconds, right? They're waiting.
Then there's the mountain who kills Prince Oberon.
Right. The mountain that rides.
See, I actually saw it as the mosaic that became the Netscape, that became the Phoenix, that became the Firebird, that eventually became the fox to battle the dish.
And I'm just looking through a spyglass at my Internet Explorer while you do that browser illusion thing. This is really good. In fact, I want this to be a kid's book because he has at the bottom a fox and a dish fight over a stream, and like I want to know the rest of the story.
Yeah, it would be a great little kids book with all these tech illusions, but done in non-techy ways. Very.
Maybe we can tell this once the entire dish fox like trial is done. Maybe we can retell it in a children's tale.
You know, you should do computer children's novels. That would. I don't even have kids, and I'd buy those.
Oh yeah, that has to happen. All right.
That's a great concept.
Check it out. If you want this page though, lenperaltastore.com is the place to go to find
It's right on the front page right now. You can go and check it out.
Thank you, Len. Appreciate it, man.
No problem.
And thank you, patrons. 4,160. It keeps going up. You guys are amazing. With your generosity, you're willing to support the show. $1 a show. Well, $1 a show would be way, way too much. $1 a month is fine. 5 cents a show. If you can. And if you can't, we totally understand. bit.ly/helpdtns or patreon.com/acedetect if you want to support the show. And we thank every single one of you who do. Don't forget that if you can't afford the patron, or even if you can, there's the subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, another way to get involved. You can email us, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Give us a call, leave us a voicemail, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. We got a message coming up from that number in a minute. And you can listen to the show live at mobile.alphageekradio.com. Visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com for more. We'll be back Monday with Don Reisinger from CNET as our guest. See you then.
Tom, it is Bruce here in Kansas City, driving to work on the last Friday of June, just for the big Maker Fair in KC. Going to go there tomorrow on Saturday. And I'm listening, of course, to the Thursday show, as is my wont. And all of a sudden, something hit me. It's not like I hadn't heard about the Fire Phone before and Firefly, but when you were describing it, all of a sudden, it just hit me. Of course, I'm driving, so I can't look this up. But if somebody has not already done this, somebody needs to do a YouTube video of Firefly recognizing everybody's favorite sci-fi show that got canceled by Fox, starring Nathan Fillion. Right? That's what, folks. We need a video of somebody having Firefly recognize Firefly. Bye now.
This podcast is part of the Frog Pants Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
Done.
Woo-hoo. Very good.
Man. We made it! We made it all the way to the end.
Looks like we made it.
We made it to line number 68!
How'd your Stella hold up?
I'm at line number 73!
Dude, he's like 5 lines ahead of me tonight.
Yeah. This is the best time for me to start writing Python.
Yes, it is.
Also, I don't know Python.
This is the best time for you to start learning Python.
Why won't it compile? Oh, that's right. It's not a compiled language. Thank you, Tom. Oh
You've
my
gone
God.
off script.
I've gone plaid. You have changed my whole outlook on life. Thank you. I'm feeling so much better now.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
That was actually a great show.
Good. Yay. That's fantastic.
Yay!
We should always make it a Liquid Friday.
And I actually will be able to be here for next week for Nerdtacular.
Great.
So,
Okay, so we will be an hour earlier.
yes, Jenny told me at 3:30.
Okay, yep,
So I'll
that's right.
show up at around 3 Eastern, and I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'll bring you in on the Hangout. Hopefully we'll be able to get your audio out to the peoples. That'll take a little extra work, but it shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, okay. Will there be?
Slightly different.
It'll be all the Nerdtacular guests. So who is the actual guest that day? Do we know?
Patrick Beja and Jenny, Justin Robert Young wants to be on.
Well, I think we can manage that.
So I think it'll be Justin Robert Young and Patrick Beja.
Oh, very good.
Oh, I just realized I'm out for 2 weeks.
Are you?
I am.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Oh, that's right. I'm going to a conference in Nia Bay, Washington.
Ah,
was like, there must be a good reason for this. We'd probably be doing something fun.
Cool. Is it a good Is it a fun conference?
Are you kidding? It's Nerding Man. It's,
Nice.
500 hackers in geodesic dome
Nerding Man.
in a area in the northwesternmost region of the continental United States, where you can skip rocks over to Canada, and there's no Wi-Fi. Well, there's probably Wi-Fi, but there's no phone service. There's no nothing. It's great.
No cellular. Nothing.
Would you like some titles? We have some really
Sure.
bang up
Love a
titles.
There's only one title. That's transparency, transparency, transparency. Business.
I wish that
Well-
could fit.
If we were in the market for other titles, we might say, Stay Back Spoon, this is between the dish and the fox. We could say, there was another really good one. Where did all my titles go?
I posted one. It was export x equals echo scale equals dollar scale 4 times a paren
They're all
1
long today.
type to
Jeez.
BC
Yeah.
capital. But that's pi. That's pi. Keep doing that. Solve for x.
Well, I leave it to Tom to decide.
What are our
his
choices
favorite
again?
title. Well, there's numbers, transparency, and TVZ gone reduced that to like numbers,
Caret 3.
caret 3, transparency, caret
Can't
3.
put caret in a file name.
You can
So-
you can
Unless
can't
you're
you
trying-
ampersand it?
Nah, you could escape it with a backslash, but that would cause even more problems. What are you trying to do, Tom? SQL inject the whole internet
Maybe.
with your RSS feed of awesome?
If the whole internet is going to be watching my show tomorrow.
And then the other one was Stay Back Spoon, this is between the fox and the dish.
I like
Again,
that
these
because
are
the
all
whole-
great, but they're all like just twice as long as
Yeah.
because the problem isn't that we just don't want them to be long. There's only a few words that'll show up on people's screens when they see the episode.
I got
So
it.
anything after that kind of doesn't matter.
We take the first letter of each headline and we turn it into an anagram.
Oh boy.
And we let the audience figure it out.
It's a puzzle.
We could call it CryptoCast.
Like we could probably get away with transparency.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Like just that part.
That's
Yeah,
the main
everybody gets
story.
the joke by now, right? Yeah. Is there a way? No.
They'll think it's a
There's-
Steve Ballmer reference.
Well, that's the problem with that. I was gonna say, is there like a oh gosh, a Unicode character for a superscript 3?
Oh boy.
I don't think that's gonna work either.
Yeah, no, I think there's an ampersand. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Unicode.
Hmm.
I think there is a Unicode for the superscript for the caret. I don't want to bring up the
this is
Yo
bad.
app,
See, this again
but I
is
did.
like we have something good, right? And it's innovative, and it's derivative, and it's funny, and it's stifled by it's stifled by technology. File names. I know. We make it 8.3. What
We
would
make it-
transparency be in 8.3? Remember when we had to make all our file names conform to 8 characters?
All right. I am going to have to log off because I get kids who want to go to the pool.
What?
I want to go to the pool too.
And as do I, but I don't think I'm going to be able to go to the pool because I got to stay home and watch another kid. So, yay!
No, sorry, man.
Well, you can tell them the
deserve to get to go to
story
the pool.
about the fox and the dish. I'm sure they'd be captivated. Bring your
Oh,
tablet.
yeah. I
Bring your
will.
tablet. Come up with the whole
Yeah.
story.
Instead of going
Ampersand
to the
pound,
pool.
ampersand pound 752.
There we go.
Caret that stuff.
Hold down Alt, hit 0, and a bunch of stuff on your numpad. See what happens. That's how I learned to ANSI. That's actually fantastic. Take the kids to the pool, bring your iPad, show them the art, get their input on it. It's like free consulting. right? You don't even have to spend $250 an hour for a consulting fee. Like, it's just these are kids, right? They've just got imagination, like, blooming.
You know, for kids.
Yeah.
I say instead of the pool, they can sit home and they can help me come up with the story of the fox, the dish, and the string.
You say, hey kids, we could go to the pool, or we could sit at home in air conditioning and hang out with Final Draft. Don't you want to learn how to use Final Draft?
It's a valuable career skill, children.
I'm with you guys. I think that's terrific. All right.
Don't
I'm
forget
logging
the
off.
sunscreen. Cheers.
All right, see you, Len.
See you later.
Need a pool toy.
Bye, Len.
Bye, Len. I miss you. Ride us. Drive safely. All right.
All right, I'm out of here.
All right, fine.
Or we should be out of here. Because I want to curse at corporations. All right, I will go. Internet my internet. See you guys.
Bye, Darren.
Thanks for making my day so much better.
I'm glad it helped. I really am.
Really did. Thank you.
Good.
All right, later.
Hang in there.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hang out with the end with the
Yeah, those things.
Whew.
All right. I'm going to try the carrot.
Okay. If that doesn't work, you can always try the stick.
There you go. See? There's always another option.
Yeah.
Take it to WordPress. Just work.
Is that an option in the WordPress like premium package? You just
Yes.
smack it around. Just
If you
work.
pay for WordPress.com, you can threaten.
Yep.
Edit by threatening. Enabled.
Threatening. A threaditor.
It's a threaditor. Yeah.
It's a threaditor.
It's a WordPress threaditor function.
So interesting that we did end up asking about some things. Do you have like you don't have a current geek today.
No.
You have like 2 seconds to talk about emails that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah, as soon as we're off air. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get the
Unless there's something that we can talk about with folks.
No. Much as I love transparency.
Well, I don't know what you're talking
Yeah, I
about.
know.
So.
You'll see. It's
Okay.
all in your email. There's no
great.
drama. It's just scheduling.
So I'm being sued again.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm pretending
haven't
that's
seen
what
that
you sent
email.
me.
No.
My bank bill, but how did you know I got that?
Maybe you're not on it. Are you not on it? Hold on. Hold the phone. You must be. You are. Yeah, you are. It's Nerdtacular related.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we can figure that out.
Yeah.
It's a for those who are like, come on, stop holding back. It's about the logistics of how we get the show recorded. That's all.
Yeah.
So it would not be
Interesting.
fun or interesting to go through the mundane bits about it.
It's how we can bring the show to you the same way we always do.
And it's actually one of those things where if I did start talking about it, you all, some of you, and you know who you are, would start trying to solve the problem without having all the information, which would actually be detrimental.
So go drink instead. It'll be better. Tea, crumpets, bacon, possibly an ale.
Whatever ails you.
Yep. Hey, did Darren go away and come back, or you've always been there?
It seems like he came back, but
Looks
he's
like
not
he
here.
came back, but he's
Yeah.
not here. I'm confused.
I'm still exporting.
I see a picture of a sassy Darren with a sassy hat and a sassy
Cowboy
neckerchief
Darren.
of flowers.
The Night of Flowers? What?
No.
Oh. He's the mountain that rides.
Oh boy.
He's not that either. I don't want to say he's Oberyn either, because Oberyn, spoiler, but...
No, we already did that. Okay.
My webcam's broken.
Oh, you are there.
Yeah, Darren's still there.
Disembodied voice.
Hello, Darren from the other side.
Come back.
Abort, retry, fail. I'm gonna press R.
Can you not leave our show? Because that would be awesome. Like, are you actually unable to leave our show?
Captive audience.
We've got a cat. We've got a hacker in the wild.
A wild hacker suddenly appears.
Speaking of wild things suddenly appearing, it looks like there's a person coming to take care of my little problem.
Sounds much worse than it is.
I know.
It sounds all Downton Abbey.
No. So there is an official person coming to take care of the raccoon and do something humane with it, which is to say, take it far, far away into the hills on tomorrow, actually. So.
And yes, nth Mike, there is no Current Geek tonight because Scott's got stuff, especially in Advanced Nerdtacular, but I think there's some family stuff too. Anyway, he had a scheduling conflict. So no Current Geek this week, no Current Geek next week. Apologies.
I know, the devs are at the ready.
Send the developers in.
Oh my god, he's still here!
Now we can see him now too.
Alright. That's a better outcome.
All right, I'm almost...
But we're not solo this time, Tom, because look who I brought to the table. You don't have to...
Hey! What's up, Dale? I looked to the side because I'm like, usually I've got your CD sitting right there, but for some reason it's not here.
Because it's in your car, obviously.
Well, it's in all my devices.
There you go.
How you guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, Darren just grabbed me in.
Yeah, well, because Dale does it way better than I do. Actually, Dale can do the first verse because I got the second.
Okay. Should I go ahead and
let's lay it down because
All
I feel it's after show, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no rules.
Trying to grapple with the spotted pineapple. Some might say it's dapple, but it makes me want to snapple. Some might say it's dapple, but it makes me want to snapple.
See, I'm not known for raps, just Roman Apple Jacks, or maybe brute force attacks with my adder caps.
That's sick.
Yay!
Put that in your next album.
Yeah. First track.
And then soon we will know.
Oh, you got to let people use that remix?
Actually, I feel like what we should do is make an entire troll album.
Works for me.
That would be fantastic.
That sounds like...
Trolls Against the Machine.
So
It's a trapple.
It is the machine, and yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the idea? So you're going to sort of do an entire response song to this thing?
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
when appropriate, but until then, there's just foreshadowing, which is always nice.
Nice.
Because then you can say I was there when.
And I was.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dale's helping us at DEF CON.
Nice.
Yes. You should come one year.
I'm
Do a
afraid.
report from. You should do a DTNS. You wouldn't believe how many people come.
I'll bring my cassette recorder and I'll do a DTNS.
Oh, come on. We have people come up to the booth and be like, "Oh, dude, I love your appearances with Tom." So you'd totally be welcome there.
No, I'm sure it'd be fine. I'm just paranoid, that's all. Actually, it always ends up being way too close to Dragon Con. That's the real reason. And so I'm always like, I don't know, put too many things back to back.
Yeah.
One of these days, though. One of these days.
Burn out.
I am out of the post, Jenny.
Okie dokie.
And unless you guys got some more fat rhymes to lay down, I'm going to stop the broadcast.
No, but we're going to go hear some dope beats from his new album. So,
no, actually, not
again,
mine.
foreshadowing.
Shannon.
Oh, Shannon.
Oh, Shannon's nice.
Shannon Snubs. Snubs is a new album.
Sweet. Well, it's good to see you, Dale.
Likewise. And you too, Jenny.
Hi. It's nice to meet you, and it was lovely to meet you.
Right back at you.
Yeah. Again,
All right. Stopping the live. Bye.
All right.